Okay, so 1.10 is giving commands and objects in the classroom. I love giving commands in the classroom. Unfortunately, like I should change this to say objects in online. I don't know, through your webcam. So I'll put the whole lecture in there. The goal is to have this conversation, to be able to give a command to someone, hey, could you do this? Or hey, do this, without the please. Although I kind of think that the please is worth it. So please, um, one-handed, this means please. Two-handed, it's enjoy. So, handy little phrase. So it's going to be about giving a command. Now we're going to look at two different kinds. We're going to look at giving someone a command to do something themselves or a command to do something with an object. Let's look at the command to the person first. So we're going to give a command, person, then action. And then oftentimes we will repeat who we're talking to. So you, go, you. You all know how confusing it can be when someone points. If you're standing by other people, you mean me? So that, I think it's called a pronoun copy in grammar and linguistics, where you're going to reinforce with this. We use it a lot. You happy? You? Are you happy? Name what? You. It's a good clarification. So, and then obviously, ideally, the second person would do whatever is being told. We would do this in class where I would give commands and then you guys would act it out, like the trained monkeys that you are. But now online, we're kind of stuck. So we'll find ways of incorporating this. Right now, as you notice, I'm giving a lot of information for you to look at. And then once we hit sort of the second half, then we're going to be able to do a lot more conversational stuff. Right now, it's just sort of familiarizing yourself with these things. So a couple of simple vocab. We know pronouns, you, me, that person over there. In this case, since you're giving a command, you're talking to the person, right? So you. Man, woman, unless you know the person, again, it's not, you may not want to make that assumption, right? So, hey, you. You've noticed in the videos that people do this a lot at the start of a conversation. It's a way of getting attention, right? We don't kind of do that in English and hearing conversation. We're like, hey, psst, yeah. Right? We find some auditory cue. For deaf people, they can't do that, right? Or they can, just might not get a response. So just a simple way, tap on the thing. If, like, for example, someone's leaning on a table, deaf people will be very aware of stuff like that. The more you get involved with deaf culture, people will stomp on the floor with their foot, pound on the floor. As a deaf person or as a person in the community, if you feel that vibration, you will respond to it because that's how people get your attention if they can't make contact. And oftentimes, although deaf culture, we're more free with making contact because it's socially acceptable. Sometimes people will prefer to, like, ooh, hey, get your attention visually. It also means that if someone's trying to get your attention, you kind of look. You can't just kind of ignore them. All right, so man, woman. I added in ones that we'll do later: student and teacher. Student, I think, can't even remember now. Student. So learn, student. This is person and teacher. Teach. So I've got this information and I'm giving it out, and then I'm a person. So person, right? So teacher. So those might be handy in terms of teacher. So next we have some actions. Generally speaking, this is going to be a person. Sometimes you'll see this: meet, go, walk past. You can also do walk. Depends. Sometimes you don't want to show the legs, you want to show the person, but either one works. So sit, here's the chair, and the person sits. Right? So sit. Stand, stand. Dance. Jump. Now turn around is just this, right? So we're not actually, these aren't people. I'm saying just pivot around this way, right? Turn around. So you, man, woman, student, teacher, sit, stand, dance, jump, and turn around. So that's what we're going to start with. And the basic pattern, again, is, hey, you do this thing. Yeah, you. Okay. And in the book, he looks very forceful. I will put in the videos for these to show some of the guy in the yellow shirt. Sit, you. So you can incorporate all of those. You sit, you. You stand. No. Let me go back up. So they're really simple. So you, just remember that pattern. You, here's the action, and then you again. Just so we know who, it's very clear who you're talking to. And sometimes, if there's one other person in the room, you're about to change into your bathing suit or something, and someone's looking at you. Turn around. I think in the end, it's like warning you. All right. But then some other simple commands that we can do. We've got the sign for window, right? Looks like a window, right? Or guillotine. No politics. We've also got a door, so door, double doors, and lights. On camping trips, if you'd hold the flashlight under to get that spooky face. So light. Okay. So for a window, this is the sign for window. It's tap, tap. Door, light, light. Okay. So 2 taps for each. So we got window, door, light. Now for window, you can open the window or close the window. So just chomp or shomp. Door. Okay. And lights is a little different because it's more of an abstract idea for light. So imagine that these are the lights. The lights are on, the lights are off. So if I went, so in the classroom, I would point to whoever's by the light switch and go, hum. Or, ironically, this one is oftentimes hard to do because the lights are off and we're in the dark. If there's enough light that you can see when I'm signing, so lights off, lights on. Door open, door closed. So for this, we have book. Again, double tap. And paper. If you remember the last unit, we talked about school. School is just up and down. Paper comes back towards you, the top hand. Whatever your writing hand is should be probably on top. And it comes back towards you. Paper, 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 paper. So school, paper, paper. Because it's thin. Paper. So book, you can open book or close book. Imagine these are your eyes, right? Looking at the papers. You can look at paper or you can read it. Should probably switch those, right? Look at, read. So you're looking at all the way down. Same thing with paper. You can read, you can look at. Paper you can fold. You can crumble it too, right? So I'll throw it away. I think in the last unit, I may have mentioned the term instrument classifier. There are kind of signs that we use that classify objects. And it classifies them by showing how we use them, not necessarily what the object looks like. Best way to say it. So, best way to show it is crumple paper. The paper's between my hands and I'm crumpling it. I'm not actually showing the paper. Right. When I'm folding the paper, I'm not actually showing the paper. I'm showing what I'm doing to it. Shoveling snow. God, not ready for it yet. Shoveling snow. Same thing. Combing your hair. We're not actually showing just brushing your teeth. We don't show the brush. We're showing the action, and everybody understands that. So that's what we call an instrument classifier, where you're showing how you use it. So that's what most of these are. Well, actually, no. Book. Book is like I'm showing you the two halves of the book opening up. With the window, that's not an instrument classifier. If I did this, that would be an instrument classifier because I'm holding the frame, lifting it up. Holding the pane, lifting it up. So you can see the difference between an instrument classifier. We don't actually see that thing. We fill it in. Now, as we've been doing this, if you notice the new intro, hey, you, hey, you, window, open. So I'm going to say, window, you know what I'm talking about? That thing over there? What? So the first thing is window, eyebrows up, check in. Know what I'm talking about? Windows, good. Open it up. So it's just important that the eyebrows go up in the first thing of, hey, you know what I'm talking about? Boom, boom, boom. So some visual cues. Trying to get away from just typing English, but here I am talking. You'll notice also that with each successive unit that I'm recording, I'm going to use less and less English. Ideally, by the time we get into 3, I'm not going to be using much English at all, and you're going to understand it. But I want everybody to feel comfortable with what they're seeing. So, now, these sound effects that I'm making, the non-manual morphemes, do have meaning. So it's a good way to start thinking about them as sound effects, but eventually they have a grammatical function. If you got a chance to meet Dr. Hogue or communicated with him at any point, he has his PhD in ASL linguistics. So his dissertation was on mouth morphemes and studying how those work. So if you're interested in linguistics, especially ASL linguistics, it's a field that is opening up. There's lots of opportunities for research. Oh no, the first one. Duh. Now, we looked at how window is 2 taps, door is 2 taps, light is 2 flicks. Book is 2. Now I want to look at, I already showed sit is this, right? The person comes and sits. The difference between a verb and a noun, generally speaking, is a noun does 2 taps to show object permanence, and a verb shows one action, unless you're repeating, and that's a different kind of use of the sign. But for the general rule, the verb moves once because most actions happen once. And then the noun is 2 taps to show sort of solidity. So we saw this was sit. Chair is just 2 taps. Like if I wanted someone to bring me the chair, I'd say, chair, over there, bring it to me. Okay. So chair, sit. So if I want you to sit in the chair over there, I'd be like, hey, you sit there, chair. So you can, if you're setting something up, pointing to it, give it a pronoun. So chair, that one. I want you to look at that chair. Chair there, you sit there. Now, get out. That last one. Maybe you should do stand on the chair. Chair, there, you stand on it. In the classroom, I think the only loose chairs have rollers on the bottom. They're rolly chairs. Not a safe place to stand. So I don't know what you have at home. Don't stand on the rolly chair. Always have a spotter. So, and again, if you need to get someone else's attention, you can wave. However obnoxious you need to be. In deaf culture, everybody waves. I mean, unless you're at a big speech and you're in an audience, and it's still considered pretty rude to distract everybody else if something's happening. But in general conversation, parties, people are waving all the time. Tap. Just a light tap. Don't get obnoxious. Don't like tap. Or sometimes a press. If you want to like interrupt, you would that way they know that you're there. They know that you want something, but it's not something as simple as just gonna like push them out of the way lightly. So a tap, and then they'll turn. Being an intermediary, we oftentimes, if like this person needs to talk to this person and they can't get their attention, but they can get my attention, then they ask, do you mind that person? And I would go, oh yeah, tap, tap. Or I would wave, say, here, over there, look over there. So communication is much more of a group effort in deaf culture because of the limitations of not being able to use sound across the room. We have to use visual, which means you have to have direct eye contact. So just be aware that as we're getting into a more immersive environment, you are going to be asked to help out with communication. It's just part of the community. So either being an intermediary or using an intermediary, someone to help you do the conversation or get that person's attention. And here's all the vocab. We've done all of those. Yep. And then I put all the videos, and here are the commands. Here he is. Let me see if it'll play for you. You stand, jump. You stand. You. It's hard not to voice like it's a samurai movie. He's being very mechanical, obviously, but you get the idea. And these are all at the end of the video. It's the last slide. And that's great. In your book, There is homework for 110. And let me just... literally, it's these videos. Just practicing those commands. So there are questions. It just asks you what to do. So just watch these videos. That's the homework from this. And I'm not going to take points on it. It's just your review work. But that is 110.